Hey everyone. So I know that there are a lot of folks who are working from home for the first time, or they have kids home for the first time, or they're doing both for the first time. And as someone who did that, lived that life for a really long time, I just wanted to share a few tips. So for those of you who don't know my history, back in 2009, right before that, I was kind of living the life home with my kids. And in 2009, when the economy kind of tanked, I decided to go back to teaching. And so at one point, by the time we got to Texas in 2010, I was teaching for 3 different colleges. And I had between 10 and 12 classes a semester, which for those of you who are unfamiliar, a full-time teaching load is between 4 and 5. So I had between 2 and 3 full-time teaching loads at the time. In addition to that, I was homeschooling all 3 of my kids who, when we moved to Texas, were 3, 5, and 8. So preschool, kindergarten, first grade, and I think Megan was in 3rd grade that year. And I also had started a business with send out cards. So I was actively building my business from home. I published a book that year. I started my PhD program in 2011. And also in 2011, I was elected onto the board of the Women's Chamber in New Braunfels. So I had a lot on my plate. And so I just saw a post recently. Someone said, you can't be a parent and a teacher and an employee or run a business at the same time. Well, you can. It's really hard and you can't do it perfectly, but you can do it well. And so I wanted to share with you some tips. Probably the biggest thing that helped me during those years, I lived that life for about, 10 years that I was homeschooling my kids and working from home and building a business and doing all of those things. Maybe not 5 years really was when I was doing all of it all at once. But I learned some really good techniques for helping keep everything organized and reducing stress, which is really important, especially right now. We have enough stress on our plate, so we don't need more stress, and helping you and everyone in your family to get more done and to feel like you've accomplished what you need to accomplish through the day. So these are tips that I will share with you, or the tips that I share with when I teach a Secrets to Success Summit with Judy O'Higgins and Christy Lee, who are my co-authors. We talk about how to build a business from home. It's a workshop for women, and this is my part, is teaching the organization, goal setting, those kinds of things. So this is kind of my area of expertise, if you want to call it that. And so I'm not going to give you the full 3-hour seminar. I'm just going to give you one tip that's really 2 things put together. So one of the biggest things that I tell women when they're trying to work from home and figure out, or they're working full time and trying to build a business on the side, is that it's really important to have your life kind of blocked out. So time blocking is a really helpful tool. If you're not using it already, that is something that you should be using. And so I'm going to share my screen real quick and just show you a really quick way to do this. So give me just a second. Okay, so here's my little whiteboard. So pretend we have a piece of paper. Now I am drawing with like one hand here, so this is not super awesome. But what I would do is I would put the days of the week at the top. So, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc. And then the time. So we're gonna sleep in and say 7. I know a lot of you guys are up way earlier than 7, but we're just gonna put that in as our thing, and we kind of go down the day, okay? And then sometimes I'll make a little grid. So if you do this on line paper, that makes it really easy, but you can do this just on any scratch piece of paper. Actually, you can type it up on your computer. You can do a really nice table or an Excel spreadsheet or something like that. But what tends to happen when we make it really fancy is that we feel like it's set in stone. And the biggest thing about time blocking is that it gives us a guideline for how we're going to use our time during the day, but it's not set in stone. So that takes away some of the pressure that schedule will do. And just jotting it down on a piece of paper helps us to kind of relieve some of that stress of, oh my gosh, now I've got to follow this, perfectly. So the first thing you want to do is put in all the things that you have to do. So if you're working like an actual job from home and you have to be online from 8 to 5, then you would put that in here, 8 to 5, that's your job. Okay. I always say too that you should put in, I'm going to put in here. So work, put in your meal times. Okay. Um, this time right now, it's really important to take care of yourself. So you want to put in self-care, whether that is going for a walk, if you're a spiritual person, reading your Bible, or whatever. If you doing personal development, read a personal development book, do something that makes you feel like you're growing as a person. Okay, so whether that's taking care of your health or taking care of your mind, taking care of your heart, your spirit, all of those things, take some time to do that self-care and write that in. Then you want to put in your kids' stuff. I mean, right now we're not supposed to be going anywhere, but if they have, like one of my boys has Zoom at 9 o'clock every day. So I would put that in, Zoom for Tristan. And so you can see this can get a little bit unwieldy. You might want to use different colors for different kids or whatever. But you put in the main things down and then you kind of work around the rest. So then you end up with this kind of a block of what your days look like. The more consistent you can be day to day, the better. So for example, for me, I was teaching an on-campus class at 11 and an on-campus class at 2 and doing office hours in between that. So I've tried to keep that schedule on Mondays and Wednesdays. So I am still Zooming with my students at 11 and 2. Those students who show up, it's great. We have a chance to talk and see each other. It's a really nice way to connect and make sure everybody's on track. So I try to keep that consistent through the week. And so what I've done with my kids is I kind of try to start my day at 11 so that I have the morning to get my kids ready to go. Teaching online means that I work on the weekends and I work in the evenings and I work all kinds of weird times. And so I don't have a typical 8 to 5 type of job. So that's just how it works for me. So you have to figure out how it works for you. But you usually have a lunch break, those kinds of things. So put those in. So that's one piece. So once you kind of have a sense of what your days look like, the next piece goes to your kids. So let me stop this and I'm going to share something different. So this is something that I learned a really long time ago. Brian and I think even before we had kids, that show Super Nanny came on and we used to like to watch that, probably because we didn't have kids yet. But the thing is, what Super Nanny always did, it didn't matter how chaotic the household was. The first thing she did was she came in and she made them a schedule, and that was the key. So that stuck in my head. So when I went back to work, that's the first thing I did, is I made a schedule for my kids. Now, remember, I told you my kids were pretty little. Megan was 6 when I went back to work in 2009. So 6, 4, and 2. So they were really small. We were homeschooling. Megan was in first grade, I think, and Tristan was in kindergarten, and Josiah, was just Josiah. He was trucking along with the big kids. But I made a schedule. So what can be hard with little ones is they can't read, right? So I want to show you my schedule here in a minute. So this is something that I've done over the years. But it's really important to understand that having a schedule where kids can see it is really important. It doesn't matter if they're 2 or if they're 17. Having a schedule brings order to our lives. And right now, when everything is so chaotic, having that order, knowing what's coming next in your day is really important when you don't know what's coming next in the real world. So a lot of times we think, oh, well, I'm not a schedule kind of person. But it's important to have that. And again, it doesn't have to be a set in stone thing. It's more of, it helps you to get into a routine of your day. So if your kids sleep in or you have an off day, that's okay. You just kind of jump in. And you can jump in where you're supposed to be on your schedule, or you can start at the beginning and just kind of shorten things or figure out how to get everything in during the day. And, we have a lot of things that we do that maybe aren't the most important things. And so kind of cutting those down. One thing that a tip I want to tell you, we have a lot more time than we think we do. if when you start doing the time blocking, you're going to see that you have more time likely in the day than you think that you have, because we do spend a lot of time on our phone. If you have screen time, that's going to tell you how much time you're spending on your phone. We spend way too much time answering emails throughout the day. So I was going to keep this short, but one extra tip: try to check your email once, maybe twice a day. Check it in the morning, check it in the afternoon. Set a time in your day when you check your email and you return phone calls, unless you have a job where that is your job. But it's a time sucker if you're always checking, and it makes your brain do weird things if you're always online. So try to train your mind to focus again. We've with all of technology and the web and things, our brains are kind of evolving to not allow us to focus. So we have to retrain ourselves to be able to focus. And when we're home, that's really important, because we have to maintain that focus. It's too easy to say, oh, I got to go do laundry, or I got to go wash those dishes, or whatever is going on. I'd rather make cookies right now, all of those kinds of things. So, but let me share my screen one more time. And I'm going to show you a picture of what my schedule looks like. So hopefully you all can see this picture. So what you can see on here is that I have, I've used drawings and stickers to kind of make this schedule accessible for my youngest, who is almost 4. So I had a sticker book that I bought when Megan was 2. So that was, 15 years ago. And that sticker book has provided me with these crazy stickers for all of these years, these shirts and bananas and things like that. So I'm kind of at the end of my sticker run, but we do have markers, and so we can draw. So I have the sunrise. So, he can see basically what he's supposed to be doing, and he can associate those images with his day. And if you guys look at this, you can see I've got his learning time. I have a thing from, it used to be called Mother Goose time, and there are these boxes with preschool activities to do. So I'll do that with him for a little bit in the morning while the kids are doing their school. So that gives them a good 2 hours to do school before I have to go to work. So you can see right here, I've got it on the schedule. Those are on Monday and Wednesday, I have to be online. Those are my on hours when I'm teaching or have office hours. So those are my uninterrupted times. I can't be interrupted at those times unless it's an emergency. So that's when I have playtime, lunch, playtime again, and then quiet time, which is the only time during the day that my kids get to watch a movie. They can read, they can watch a movie, they can take a nap, but that's quiet time. And I know I have Megan's school here too, because I was thinking she might be helping me with Hudson sometimes, but she does her school in the morning. And then the kids, if they have more homework, they can do it in the afternoon as well. But you can kind of see how the middle of the day, then I've left it a little bit more free for the kids. Thankfully, I have older kids in the house. If all you have are younger kids, then you have to be a little bit more, you have to plan ahead a little bit more. Whether you have an activity bag that you set up when Josiah and Tristan were little and Megan was doing school, what I used to do, here, I'll stop this share. So what I used to do when they were little is I would set up a table. We had these little kid tables. And so I would pick a theme for the week. So maybe it was dinosaurs. And so at one seat, I would put a bunch of little toy dinosaurs and maybe a little map, to play. At another seat, I'd put crayons and coloring pages of dinosaurs. At another seat, I do a little sorting activity or something that would be, hand-eye coordination. And then at the other seat, maybe I would do, I don't know, something else, some other kind of activity for them to do, and maybe books about dinosaurs. And so I would have a theme, and I would set up stations, and then I would set up a timer. And so they would have to stay in their seat for that amount of time. Now, I know if you have really, really little ones, and you only have, especially if you only have one, that makes it tough, because a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old who's all by themselves wants your attention. You are their person. But if you have more than one kid, and your oldest is, even if they're 3 or 4, they can direct activities because they like to be bossy. especially if they're a girl. So Megan was really good at that when she was little, saying, okay, boys, now it's time to do this. And they would go do their little thing. So having the schedule like that with the pictures. And what I would do too, if your kids can't read, so they don't know the times, when the kids were really little, I drew a clock with the hands, because it's a lot easier for them to be able to identify the position of the hands than it is for them to be able to match a 5 and a 2, because they look the same to their little brains. And so having the picture of the clock with the hands, they could, and I put the little clock right next to their schedule so they could kind of see where things were. And if they got off track, it was easy to say, okay, well, let's go look at the schedule and see what we're supposed to be doing right now. And that made them really happy. If they're hungry, well, look, we have snack time in just a little bit. So we're just going to continue this and then have snack time. So it just helps you to make your day run more smoothly, and it relieves stress. So even if you're not, you can kind of bulk against that idea of having a schedule. It really does make a huge difference. It relieves stress for you and for your kids and for your spouse. If he's home too, then that kind of helps everybody to be on the same page. Put that schedule up right where everyone can see it. And that helps everyone to stay on track and keep going. Okay, so anyways, I hope that was helpful. It was a little longer than I was anticipating, but I hope that those tips help you guys to kind of feel a little bit more sane these days and get through the day without freaking out. All right, stay safe, stay well.